friendly witch host, Serpentine and Soul, and with me I have special guests. Let's start.
Hi, my name's Rebecca.
I'm Roz.
And I'm Charlotte.
And today we're going to be talking about toxic traits or attributes to look for in a toxic leader. So, yeah, whoever wants to go first.
I think Rebecca does.
Okay, the first thing I want to say that the toxic attribute is public humiliation. If your spiritual leader is publicly humiliating you or anybody in the group, that should be a red flag.
Definitely.
Yeah. So, and it's often labeled as helpful or corrective later on, but bottom line is that person was humiliated and made to feel terrible about something, and they didn't even probably realize that what they were doing was going to get that behavior.
That's very true.
That's a good point, yes. That's definitely a toxic.
Some examples, for me, I know that I was doing a tarot reading, and I finished a tarot reading, and she screamed in front of a group of, this lady screamed in front of a group, that's an F, in front of everybody, after everybody had congratulated me on what a great tarot reading it was. I mean, of course it made me feel terrible, you know? Or, another one is having a video and where you make somebody like the main star of the video, but really the point is to humiliate that person and to put them in humiliating circumstances that any reasonable person would feel humiliated by.
That's very true.
I don't know if you have any examples of public humiliation.
Another example to feed off of that is when something intimate, when there's a conflict in the group, they have to make it a public setting, a public group, when it could have just been a situation between you and that person, or the person involved, not a whole group involved to publicly shame you.
Yes.
As well as making fun of you on a constant basis of, like, if you have any emotional reaction, you are too sensitive, you're too emotional, you're too weak if you show any emotion, and you get shamed for that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes,
well,
spiritual power is defined by your emotional fortitude, which really means nothing.
I know. You know what? One of my friends had another spiritual leader tell her that your tears are sacred. So I want to tell everybody that that's the truth. Your tears are sacred.
Your tears are sacred.
Honor that. Honor that.
I'm terrible at these things, so please.
Another toxic trait is emotional manipulation, where they say if they could choose a child, they would choose you to try to reel you in, especially if that person knows that you have issues regarding parents.
Having your child move on site, then they really have you by the balls. Of course, because if your child is there, how much more can they abuse you then, or make you feel terrible without you leaving, you know? They've got you. So how about insisting on shunning those people that have been forced out of the community?
Yes.
And if there are many people who have been shunned from this community, that's probably a red flag as well.
Yes, most definitely. Especially the fact that if you are shunned from the group, that leader will reach out to other groups to try to shun you from that group as well.
Blackball.
You are spiritually blackballed from that community entirely until you have a group of warriors that stand up and want to share their story and actually care about their spiritual journey.
Well, we've heard from people within the group still who have reached back out to us who said not to mention their name ever because they're fearful of reprisal.
If
You're
fear of being retaliated against for speaking to someone who has been removed from the group, you should be able to speak to whoever you want.
Exactly.
It's basically,
that's control.
it's control, it's emotional manipulation, and it's not my favorite thing. But, and also, even these other leaders of other groups that she called and said, don't let her come, she has criticized each and every single one of those leaders. Yes. Any leader, if your spiritual leader criticizes every other spiritual leader, I mean,
That's a sure sign of a toxic person.
Yes.
Because if you're confident in yourself, you don't have to badmouth all the other
all the
leaders
other spiritual leaders are bad and wrong.
and have done
But
shitty
I'm good.
things, and she can list every story and every shitty thing that all the other spiritual leaders in the community have done. She's got a laundry list for you.
Yes.
Another one is a huge spiritual ego. Pretty much they compare themselves to an actual deity. Like that deity stories is their own. Not knowing that part of a spiritual journey is you gotta humble yourself. You are still human.
You are definitely human.
Even if you're a channel for that deity, you are not that deity.
Exactly.
Do
Even
not
if you're a
make that
channel.
mistake.
Exactly. This is another one. If you are in a community and somebody is revealing personal emails and information of people who are outside the community and laughing at them and mocking them,
Yeah.
that's a sign of a toxic leader. I hate to say it and I have to admit it and be honest that I was a party to that happening where emails were forwarded around and scoffed at and ridiculed in a group setting.
Or texts.
Text, yes, as well text.
I mostly saw texts.
I can promise you, if you've ever texted or emailed this person negatively, those have been shared with the group.
Yeah. Even if you're trying to reach out to say that you're doing better and that was a lesson learned, they'll still mock you for it.
Yeah, even if it was heartfelt or sorrowful, it
Anything.
still, yeah. Still made
Anything.
fun.
Once you're gone, it's ridiculous that you would even try. And barking orders.
Oh, that's a good one.
If your spiritual leader yells at you to go do a task, that's just them trying to get you to do stuff for them, basically.
Yeah.
And doing so in the name of teaching is another big red flag for me. Like I'm gonna sit here, you guys do this because I'm teaching you.
I'm the supervisor.
I'm the
Or
supervisor.
you guys lead this, but I'm still teaching.
Yes.
And
And
then getting mad at you when you don't do it exactly
The
the
way
way
she
that she
would have
wants
done
it
it.
to be done.
She wouldn't have done it that way, so you get yelled at.
In public, usually.
Often yelled at in public. You're often yelled at in public. And by public, that could even just be, maybe it's an intimate group, but it's in front of everyone in the group.
Yeah.
That is a public setting, and
That
you're
is.
being publicly humiliated.
That absolutely is.
Yep.
Yeah. It is a strike to your social capital.
Exactly.
In
That
that
is
group.
not, it's not a
Yeah.
private situation. That's public humiliation.
Another one may be like putting you in these double binds with contradictory messages. So it's like a form of
Contradictory.
gaslighting where like, so you,
Witch-splaining
like,
is what you're
yeah,
calling
you
it.
can do
Witch-splaining,
whatever you
yeah.
want, but you have to do it my
But
way.
if you do it this way, you're doing it wrong.
Yeah, or come take professional pictures for the group, but
Yeah.
then everybody fix those
Everybody
pictures.
go into your photo app and
See
edit
what-
this professional photograph.
Yeah, see how
Oh my
you can do
God.
it better. Or,
Yeah. And it was perfect the first time around, by the way.
exactly.
Nobody made it better.
It's
No,
weird.
I don't
Weird
think so
busy work.
either. I
Yeah.
think it was
Controlling
good the
busy
first
work.
time.
Like, it was just to humiliate the photographer, basically, I think.
Yeah.
To show that, yes, we had you come out and take this picture,
Yeah.
but really,
Exactly. I know how it needs to be changed.
I want it different. Yes. And like, if every time you show them something that you're like, okay, well, I've been planning this thing, and here's what I came up with, and they go, I don't want it like that, I want it like this. It's like, well, then why weren't you doing this from the beginning if you knew exactly what you wanted?
Yeah.
Why am I here,
Why did you ask me to do
meaninglessly putting things where you don't want them?
Yep.
What am I doing here then?
What am I doing here?
Another thing is heavy gaslighting and toxic positivity.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Yes. This is a big one.
You know what? I recently heard a story, like, it was in the CBS today. It was, like, in the morning show, and it was with that, a famous actor's, like, ex, and she talked about how this toxic love was actually pressing your boundaries. So they would do stuff like climbing over their fence to give them special things, and they were so excited because they gave them special things, they totally didn't even recognize that they were breaking into their property.
Right.
Like this toxic love bombing
Yeah.
is like a way to push your boundaries
Right.
to see how far
How
they
far
can
they can
push
go,
you,
yeah.
what they can get you to do.
Right.
Yeah, so
They can get you to
Yeah.
let them
Yes.
have
They-
access to.
exactly. I got another one. Let's see.
Yeah.
If there's a laundry list of people that have been exiled from the community, that's
Run.
a huge red flag, because I can think of 6 people just out since I was only there for less than a year, and in that year 6 people were exiled. And I don't just mean like they chose to not be there, because then we could add about 3 more people or 4 more people. But if you
Or
have to,
everybody who came in and just stayed for a night and left and
yeah,
never came back.
well, I'm
Whatever.
not talking about those people.
No.
I'm talking about the people that were there and they decided not to be there, and then like nobody speaks to anymore because they were made fun of and ridiculed. And now the people within the group, like I've been personally told, and I've heard from other people, feel like there'll be retribution if they. So that's the kind of people. And if there's a laundry list of those people, that's like a sign of a toxic leader.
Yeah.
For sure.
Most definitely.
So here's, and this is one that it's funny, because once I manifest stuff, things kind of start falling into my lap. And once I put it out there that I was doing this video, all of a sudden people started sending me unrequested things about adult bullying. And one of the main traits of adult bullying is that the adult bully will lie about the person that they're bullying without any ability for the person who's been lied about to prove the negative. Like, you can't prove the negative. And so that lie just remains out there. There are so many lies that were told about us that were outrageous lies.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
things that are like just outrageous
Here comes
stories.
Hi, Sally.
Sally.
Hi,
This
Sally.
is Sally.
Here's Sally.
You've been blessed with the dog.
Silly Sally.
Yeah, that goes back to the whole gaslighting thing, though. You know, if you're saying that everyone is doing the thing you're doing,
Yeah.
I have pops falling out of my book now. This is hilarious.
Sally, come.
Bye, Sally.
Hi, Sally.
Sorry about that.
That was a little cameo.
I know, exactly.
Great, okay,
Hello. And I think the thing about lying about people and about this whole bullying and this whole toxic leadership is that they pick the choice of people that they choose to bully, or they pick people that are vulnerable. Like, she knew that I was a domestic violence survivor. She knew that I was a single mother, that I was struggling with money. She knew all these things about me. I mean, do you feel that way?
Yeah, definitely. When I was first part of this group, when I first met the group, I was trying to learn more about my personal craft, and also I told her she knew I'm a former foster child. She knew the first child I ever had died. She also knew that I was on disability. I didn't have that much money either. I was actually walking with a cane a lot more. So,
Yeah, I was wondering about that. Yes.
People, there's so many ways that takes place, but I think, bullies and people who fall into like this line of acting, they often have a sense where they pick up on people that not only are vulnerable but are empaths, like the
Yeah.
really witchy people in the community,
Yeah.
like who are
Very sensitive.
like sensitive to the situation. They target in on those people to harass and bully and to do this kind of crap with.
Control.
Control, exactly, totally.
if they ever say in private how easy it will be to run a cult, red flag, run away.
Run away.
That is a very good point.
Yeah.
If on several occasions they nonchalantly compare themselves to a cult,
Yeah.
you might be in a cult.
Yeah.
Yeah. That might be a way to be joking about the truth, but only half joking.
That's again, that goes back to that whole,
That's a good-
gaslighting kind of like half,
Exactly.
half
Right.
true
If
kind
we
of.
joke about it, it can't actually be
It's not
true,
true.
right?
Yeah.
Right.
We're joking about it.
That puts up that wall so that when people come to you and you're like, babe, I think you're in a cult. You're like, no, we aren't. We joke about that all the time.
We always joke about how we're not a cult.
So,
And
yeah.
it's like, yeah.
Well, yes, and functionally you are.
And one of the things about cults is love bombing.
Yeah.
So there's that toxic positivity again. So if you like go there and like a day after you meet people, they all love you.
Right.
Yeah.
You might be in a cult.
I can tell
It
you
might
that
be a little too good to be true.
all my friends
You don't
now,
usually fall in love that quick.
all my friends that have been my friends for life, everybody that met this person, like, immediately had red flags.
Yeah.
Immediately, like, and even now they come back and tell me, you know what? I have to tell you, Rachel, all she talked about was herself.
Yep.
She couldn't. She had no empathy for anybody else. She was just gnarly to be around.
Yeah.
And if all your friends who you've had your whole life are telling you these things, that might be a red flag.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
If she's got this sort of, like you said, a gnarly energy, a really angry,
The short temper
loud
as well.
energy to be around, and yet to be in her presence is to measure up to her expectations.
Yes.
It's like, well, I guess you just can't hang if you can't handle
That's exactly.
Yeah.
my
I think she said
poisonous
that
toxic energy.
specifically.
Yeah, you're like, I guess I can't then.
Pretty sure that's a direct quote.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Pretty sure.
And I think if you're watching this video and everything that we've said has made you just have excuse after excuse for this person, that's like a red flag. If you're
Yeah.
constantly making excuses,
Yeah.
or that's a huge.
Right.
You can't chalk it up, oh, they're set in their ways, oh, they're old, oh, they're from the South. You can't do that, because after a while, you're just excusing their behavior.
Yes, you're
You gotta-
making
yeah.
excuses for bad behavior, in fact.
Right. You got to connect the dots. And
Yes.
take control of your life back.
And trust your instincts. As much as
Definitely
you,
trust your instincts.
if you're like way deep down going,
Yeah.
something's not right, but you just don't want to believe it,
Listen to your gut.
always listen to your
listen to your
lousy
gut.
intuition.
Yeah.
I know.
Stop doubting yourself, dum dum. Sorry.
I know.
It's
Even
more at me than anything. Not you, me.
But it's important to remember too that, like, there are spiritual communities and there are cults. Not all spiritual communities are cults. And,
Absolutely.
Like, there are, if your spiritual community is controlling your movements and your speech, is controlling your finances and your family, is dictating what kind of information you absorb, and telling you telling you things that are kind of suspect, but you just have to believe everything they say without questioning anything they say. That might be an abusive situation that is not actually spiritual in nature. And
Yeah.
there are resources, many resources for people who kind of get lost in areas of alternative spirituality that are not actually as spiritual as they claim to be.
Exactly.
And it's not as uncommon as you think. There are resources. You are not alone. You're not alone.
Especially if, as church and leaders of the group, if they turn everyone against you in the group, or you can't reach out whatsoever,
That is ego. Division.
usually you're suffering from really bad depression and
Yeah.
maybe even possibly suicidal. That's what I experienced when I was abandoned for my crimes, quote unquote.
Her crime, which by the way was disobeying a direct order
Yeah.
from her high
Yes.
priestess.
Well, which was pretty
Wow.
much.
If that is
Wow.
a crime that has been
Right.
accused of you,
Right.
you're probably, yes, go ahead and disobey any direct orders from your high priestess.
Right.
You're not in the military.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She is not your
She's
boss.
not a goddess.
She's not a goddess.
Exactly.
She's a lady.
She's a human.
And she told you what to do, and if you don't agree with it, don't do it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I think if you're in this situation, the first thing you can do is acknowledge it and take the shame out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
there is not. It's that's the thing, is that the situation's already being created so that you're exiled and you feel you're made to feel ashamed.
It's the highest
Yeah.
level of public humiliation.
Yeah, I've
That
been
public
lied
humiliation
about.
we're talking
I've been lied about repeatedly.
Yeah.
I was kicked out of the place where I lived in a manner that was hideous, where everybody was rallying around one story. No, not one.
Yeah.
I shouldn't say that. 2 people out of the whole group came to ask me what happened. Nobody who's there now came and said, what really happened in this thing? How do you feel about this? They were all supposed to be my close community, and it was like, I'm sure nobody did that to you either.
Oh no,
No
I'm
one did.
sure nobody reached out to you.
No,
I'm
no
sure.
one reached out. I was truly alone.
I know.
And very gaslit, so I was doubting what I experienced was even real.
Right.
Of course.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I had no. The only thing that I'm thankful for is during this time when I was at my low point and I was contemplating suicide because of how alone I felt. not having a family like I thought I was a part of, a spiritual awakening occurred, which is I'm meant to heal from my trauma of this lifetime as well as healing others, but I gotta heal myself first. And it's funny how when you're at your lowest points, a spiritual awakening happens.
Yeah, and you know what? It's you can use your experience to help others who are going through the same experience.
Exactly.
Which is why we're making this video, so our experiences are valid, and so is yours.
So is yours.
Yep.
Yep.
So the other thing that I I had a list of like just what we're doing right now. We're acknowledging there's real consequences to this behavior, and there should be real accountability for this behavior. The consequences, I mean, not just depression. People can get physically ill. They can have mental breakdowns, stress, loss of sleep, headaches.
I was up for 3 days.
I'm sure. I was present for what happened to you, and it was a terrible, terrible thing that happened to you. It was hideous.
It was so wrong the way that whole thing went down, and it was a whirlwind.
And you know what?
It was
like,
so fast, nobody had even time to go, wait a minute, what's happening?
And exactly. And like I had to say on camera how sorry I am, because I was in a position where and this is no excuse, but like I said, I was living on site. My son was there. I felt like I couldn't say anything that contradicted her.
Well, I'm even more guilty because I didn't live there. I just sat there and went along with it. I just sat there and went along with it.
And
I have to live with that shame for the rest of my life, so.
Well, we're speaking.
Thank you, I appreciate that. I really wish I had done the right thing in the moment. And
You had
if
to
Donald
see
Trump
that.
has taught me anything, you gotta say what's right in the moment, so.
Yeah, you do, and you know what? Sometimes you don't really understand until it happens to
Right.
you.
That's what I was about to say. I think you might have had
Good.
to have that experience in order to see.
Yes, exactly. And you know, that's the thing. When it started happening to her again,
Yeah.
I was like, okay. And like, that's the thing. Have you seen this happen in your group?
Right. Is
What's
there a pattern?
How is there any way of knowing
Yeah.
that it won't be happening to you next?
Yeah.
Exactly. You better watch out how close you get to this person.
I would just
The
be very
closer
careful
you
if
get.
you've experienced any of these traits
Be
in
very
any.
If you're
spiritual-
closer, you should be like the kid from Simpsons. I'm in danger.
I'm in danger. Put your guards up. Be shielded.
Be
But
shielded.
this will be a 2-part video. Look forward to we share more on our experiences with this leader, as well as just toxic traits to be aware of. So
Yes.
see you guys next time.
Bye.
Bye, thanks.